Welcome to the Trauma Club, Augustus Porter and Adrian Gray Ventworth. We have meetings every Tuesday at noon. The newest Owl House episode, Labyrinth Runners, was incredibly interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first Owl House episode ever that didn't have appearances from Luz, Ida, or King in any type of capacity. However, it still managed to be an incredibly enjoyable episode without the core main cast. How this crew manages to put out bangers like this without any of the core main characters appearing is just beyond me. Actual freaks of nature. In a good way, of course. The episode opens with a flashback of young Gus in one of his advanced illusion classes. He looks even younger than he did when he first appeared in season 1, by the way. Gus did really well on one of his first projects for the class, but learned that the guy he was partnered with was just using him to get a good grade and pretended to be his friend. This is a reoccurring theme throughout this episode too, Gus constantly being taken advantage of by others due to them having ulterior motives and not actually caring about him and such. It feels like tragic irony in a way for a kid who's an illusion magic prodigy, a form of magic meant for deception, is the one who's always on the receiving end of others' deception, even if those people aren't illusion users themselves. Gus runs into another classroom and starts to overthink and get in his own head about not realizing that guy was pretending, which leads to some kind of illusion trauma bubble that creates illusions of events Gus went through but with amped up negativity. Thankfully, a young Willow was in this classroom and tries to calm him down with a baby abomination as well as a breathing technique that her dad's taught her to help her calm down. Thus, a beautiful friendship was born. Back to the present, we got to see a glimpse of the other Hexside students joining multiple tracks just like Luz, Viney, and Gerbo. Specifically, we saw Matt wearing a combination of construction and illusion colors, Ed wearing illusion, beast, and potion, and M wearing healing and illusion. Very nice to see Principal bump for the idea of students joining multiple tracks now too. I remember when he was first introduced, he was incredibly reluctant to even let Luz alone try multiple tracks. Quality development right there. Unfortunately for these new multi-coven students, the Emperor's Coven has come to Hexside to rain on their parade, specifically led by the Illusion Coven Head, Adrian Gray. Why do these names always go so hard? At first, he gave the students, faculty, and the viewing audience that he might actually be our friend. Yeah guys, the Emperor wants to make sure everyone's in a coven before the Day of Unity, but don't worry, I'm just gonna put a pretend sigil on every student so the Emperor will just think you're in a coven. Okay, dude. Gus is able to see through this trick though, and we get more of a glimpse on Adrian's real personality. He reminds me a lot of Mysterio from the Spider-Man franchise, creates all these illusions but treats them like a performance or a movie. You know, with Quentin Beck originally being a special effects expert slash stuntman involved in the spotlight somewhat. His voice actor Nashir Dalal also voices Yon from League of Legends, fun fact. That's the second Owl House Coven Head whose VA also voices someone from League. Can the Potion Coven leader have the same voice as Singed, please? Oh, my dumbass almost forgot. Hunter's been squatting at Hexside this whole time since he ran away from the Owl House. Gus runs into Flapjack into the cafeteria and later Hunter trying to figure out what's going on. Hunter doesn't trust Gus enough yet to let him know the full story, so he just tells Gus that his living situation has been temporarily compromised. If you look close enough at his stash of stuff, you can see the poor kid was doing research on Grimwalkers. I'm sure reading through all those books has been a tough pill to swallow. Back to Adrian POV, he gets angry at Gus for exposing his illusions, so as a way to make sure Gus can't use illusions anymore whatsoever, he tries to stamp an abomination coven sigil onto him, with the same glove one of the old golden guards used in Bellos' past. Clearly he got this glove to work after all. I think it's pretty clear from this episode that Mr. Gray is not part of the Rain Whispers alliance and is genuinely working for Bellos for the time being. In a state of panic, Gus releases a giant illusion that covers the entirety of Hexside. This one being similar to the illusion we saw him cast when he met Willow, though this one isn't filled with bad memories slash experiences. His eyes just glow the same blue as all. At least one of them in specific, with the one that's not glowing being able to see reality. Although Adrian still has a grasp on Gus, Hunter comes out of nowhere to save him. This episode has a bit of a B-plot to it as well, focusing on Willow and Amity trying to become closer as friends again, though the problem at hand is Amity is still trying to act like a big shot around Willow, thinking she has to protect her so they can stay friends. Amity still has some of that toxic mindset melded into her from her parents, thinking she can take Willow lightly because of how her parents forced her into friendships with witches that were just as strong, if not stronger than she was. She still failed to realize just how capable Willow is on her own. And I'm glad Willow was able to show her just how reliable she can be, Amity being able to understand it too. It's only logical these two came to a full understanding by teaming up against Coven Stouts and doing a Sailor Moon pose after they went. Back to Hunter and Gus's POV, Gus begins to question Hunter some more, specifically on why he chose to save him. Hunter tries to play it off like the only reason he did it was because Gus found him that sandwich from the trash can. Gus knows he's full of it though, but before Hunter can open up, Coven Scouts spot them. They realize who Hunter is and try to get him to come back to Bellos' castle, claiming Bellos has been worried sick about him. He's sick alright. Thankfully, Gus gets him out of that situation with a fire glyph he made on the floor. They got out, but Hunter starts to have a panic attack about Bellos finding him. Seeing Gus be there for him the exact same way Willow was there for Gus in the past was incredibly heartwarming. He even used the same breathing technique she did to calm Hunter down, not only assuring Hunter that not everyone out there is bad, but he can trust Gus for what it's worth. The two of them actually make it through the main illusion just to run into Willow, who's actually not Willow, but an illusion created by Gray. Gray's able to capture them using a final illusion of Bellos to mainly stop Hunter in his tracks. Not gonna lie, I was very scared in the moment here when Hunter was put to sleep and thought Hunter was actually gonna get captured for good. It was the same feeling I had when Bellis dragged him underneath the mindscape. You know, thank God my in-the-moment feelings were wrong both times. Hunter is awoken by Flapjack inside the healing homeroom of Hexside, surrounded by the members of the Flyer Derby team, the Blight twins, amongst others. The rest of the group, mainly Bump, is having trouble trusting Hunter since he thinks he's part of Gray's group, and rightfully so since his departure from the Emperor's Coven isn't really common knowledge around the Isles yet, because not much time has passed. Willow stands up for him though, saying he's telling the truth and he can help drive Gray out of Hexside. Hunter tells everyone they need to get to the gym with a plan because that's where Gray took Gus. Cut to Gus and Gray inside the gym. Gus is once again doubting his ability to trust others due to him falling for Gray's illusion. Gray doesn't care about what Gus is going through at all though. He just wants to know how Gus got to the Looking Glass graveyard, since the illusion they're currently in is when Gus went there with Matt. Gray specifically wants the Galder stones that are there to give them to Bellis as a gift. In case you weren't aware, Galder stones are one of the ingredients needed to animate a Grimwalker. I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together here on why Bellis would think those are a good gift for Gray to get him. Gus refuses to talk, so Gray tries to use his mirror earring, aka a magic amplifier, to see deeper into Gus's memories. Though before he and the scouts can succeed, Gus creates another more condensed illusion bubble to break free. Well, he got them off of him, but he's trapped inside his own head again, surrounded by negative thoughts. But can I just say, Gus isn't a Hexside witch prodigy for nothing. This kid was able to render 2 Emperor Coven scouts and the head of the Illusion Coven incapable of fighting. He's 12, by the way. Gray in particular got really fucked up from this. He was forced to relive bad memories just like Gus and had to get dragged off like a vegetable by the end of the episode. Once Gus is able to get a little bit more control, he's going to be ridiculously powerful. The Hexside Alliance fighting the Emperor's Coven was such an incredible scene, man. Seeing all the supporting cast go all out like this, I especially liked the multi-track witches use the magic from their newest tracks here, like Ed using potions and Emra using healing. Hunter eventually makes it inside Gus's illusion, and the first thing he's greeted with are the memories he saw inside Bellis's mind. They cause him pain, but he powers through the pain if it means he can save Gus. Who would have thought that Hunter, of all characters, would be the one talking someone out of a bad headspace? Going on about how even though he knows Bellis's ideals were all a lie, part of him still wants to believe in that lie and reject this harsh reality. Even trying the willow breathing technique on Gus himself. Just look at how far our blind boys come. I'm so proud. Not the group hug, dude. You're killing me. Hunter reacting the same way Ida first did to the hug was just the icing on the cake. The episode ends with Hunter letting everyone at Hexside know how Bellis has been lying to everyone about the Day of Unity, and Bump wants him to explain everything he can in detail. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this episode. I know I said it already, but I can't get over how good this episode managed to be without any of the main trio appearing in it. I also hope now that Gray was taken down by Gups, maybe we'll get some kind of rematch in the climax of the series, and perhaps Willow fighting Terra. That would be an insane one. Please let that happen. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps out a ton. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.